just gonna start that.
That was to try to get also temporary. We want a few can do that. Just almost like I kind of can't blame it. It was almost like staged.
Well, it didn't come out.
They didn't use any of that, but hopefully they don't use it in the future.
It wasn't that bad anyway.
I was impressed with the turnout. Considering where we're at and how many people are all engaged.
Coming out like here.
What's inside the city limits is
Guy that was an ice skater. That it's been a long time since I read that. You sent me that email on it. It's like,
That's scary.
and I remember at the time thinking, how does anybody find out? It was just concerned citizens of Brooklyn.
Well, it wasn't just Cindy Schick. She just was asked to confirm it. Yes, he did. Which she did. Yes, he did. She was asked by Terry to confirm it. I don't really know why it's called the citizens ordinance.
It just seems like there was like a hush hush, like nobody was supposed to know what was being proposed. And of course, I've seen it, and you said, and someone else was talking about it. I can't remember.
We're gonna open the meeting. We're gonna open the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Everybody got a copy of the agenda?
move to accept the agenda as printed.
Motion been made and supported that we approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Everybody got a copy of the June board meeting minutes?
Move to accept the minutes as printed.
Motion's been made and supported that we accept the minutes from the June meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The treasurer's report?
Pretty normal.
I move to accept the treasurer's report.
We need the support.
Need support. I'll second it.
Okay, we got a motion and a support to accept the treasurer's report as printed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The bills?
You done any road work yet, Ron?
I haven't received.
Besides chloride?
Yeah, I have, like, no, none of it that I received anything for yet.
Yeah, we put chloride on last week, so.
Right.
And we did get the bill for Belvedere.
Belvedere
So
Township.
that's on here to be paid, so,
Oh, the fire department?
yeah,
Okay.
because we hadn't gotten it.
Okay. I move we pay the bills.
Support.
Motion been made and supported that we pay the bills. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we're gonna start out, we'll do our business later. We got a couple people on the agenda that has to speak. We give them 10 minutes. After they're done, we usually give everybody 3 minutes. and we'll go around the room. We're gonna try and do Douglas Township residents first, and then we'll go on from there. Laura, do you wanna be first?
Sure. No, I don't have to face, I face the audience.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
You can do
There,
whatever you're.
I won that one, huh? Thank you, Terry, and the board for allowing me to speak to the group once again. First of all, I would like to further pursue a comment made by one of the Citizens United members last month. Time didn't permit me to make a response. Comment was made in response to my reiterating a wish of me and my husband's that our land remain in agriculture. The member quoted Dr. Mills' presentation at a neighboring township. She correctly quoted Dr. Mills as saying that, quote, turbines are not suitable for all locations, end quote. Then the member went on to say that by urging the locating of turbines in our area, Larry and I were defeating the purpose of keeping our land in agriculture. Nothing could be further from the truth. As I said before, the Citizens United member quoted Dr. Mills correctly, but the quote was not made in its original context. Dr. Mills went on to say that if an area wishes to remain in agriculture, turbines were a good option. Where turbines were not a good option, the doctor went on to say, is if the area was slated for development. Now, I would assume that development meant housing or maybe industry, but if Dr. Mills is correct in her contention, and it makes sense to me, the Citizens United should be in favor of a wind program, such as the one suggested by Apex, if they wish the area to remain rural and picturesque in character. The fierce opposition the organization has mounted.
There ought to be enough of that.
The fierce opposition the organization has mounted against the program seems on its face to be self-defeating. As I said before, I was born in my mother's old home on McBride Road in Day Township 81 years ago by the light of a kerosene lamp. My husband Larry was born in his family home on Hillman Road in Douglas Township a few years earlier, also by the light of a kerosene lamp. We care deeply about our community and have done our best over the years to maintain and improve it whenever we could. To think that we would cause our home area to diminish in value and quality at this late juncture in our lives is to discredit both of us. Which of us would knowingly and with malice aforethought follow our own nests? Yet we keep hearing that the building of wind turbines in the township, a cause that Larry and I endorse and heartily support, will cause the whole area to sink into oblivion. Dire predictions of property values bottoming out, the health of the residents being put in jeopardy have run rife, thanks to Citizens United and its allies, whose claims have been called into question when exposed to scientific and economic reality. Many of the residents who are against alternative energy accuse landowners who signed wind development leases with Apex of trying to enrich themselves while demolishing the ambience of our rural area. My personal reasons for supporting wind are not because Larry and I have signed an agreement and received a lease payment. If we had chosen not to participate or had been deemed ineligible, both of us would still feel that alternative methods of energy development are good for the area and for the human race at large. To this end, I cite the short-term benefits to our schools and other county entities who will receive tax benefits, plus employment opportunities for those who will be trained to maintain the equipment, and long-term benefits to everyone when some of the pressure can be taken off non-renewable fossil fuel production. As further evidence of our interest in personal stake in alternative energy, I would point out 16 solar panels mounted in our backyard. Minus the legal allowable tax credit given by the IRS, we paid for them out of our own savings. 2 more solar panels on our roof have helped heat our hot water for over 30 years, and we paid for them too. We do not have children, so we will have no direct descendants who will have to cope with potential energy shortages in this century or the next. However, we have a number of nieces, nephews, great-nieces, and great-nephews, and I have concerns for their futures. I continue to be baffled about the failure of the anti-wind folks to consider the long-term effects of a failure to provide for our ever-increasing energy needs. The people who are carrying the big wind go home signs are much younger than Larry and I are. As I said before, both of us were born by the light of the kerosene lamp. We have memories of what life was like for our families without electricity. I hope that none of you will ever have to accustom yourselves to having this precious resource rationed or being without it altogether. Thank you.
Keith, do you want to be next?
Lauren, can I get a copy?
Sure. You can have this.
He's leaving.
To let you know up front,
Somebody let
Apex
Ryan.
does not have a word of what I'm going to say tonight. He has no input. Neither did Terry. So I hope some of this will be an education to you guys. I'm Keith Phelps. I've owned property in this Douglas Township for 37 years. I've lived here for 26. I was an advanced manufacturing engineer for General Motors and a farmer. First, I do not have a lease or a contract with Apex or any other wind company. Secondly, I am not a German. I am for American freedoms. Albert Einstein, energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be changed from one form to another. The German residence electrical system is 220 volts. We're on 110, which is more economical for 220. My wife bought many 220 engineering refrigerator models from Electrolux for $50 for our rentals and flip houses. So what do you want? No hydropower kills fish. No coal power pollutes. No gas power, less pollution. No nuclear power, which is cheapest and probably the safest. Now you don't want wind turbines. What do you want? Wind turbines versus solar. Wind turbines are extremely more efficient than solar. Wind turbines are turning when you might not think there's a breeze. Wind turbines can work all night long on cloudy days. Solar is very limited as to the efficiency depending on sunlight to fully power the cells. Solar also removes acres of farmland and building sites. Michigan is marginal for sunlight. Wind turbines use approximately 1 acre. It takes approximately 25 acres of solar panels to produce 5 megawatts of power. One turbine produces 5 megawatts of power. It is well known that electrical discharges produces ozone. High ozone concentration air-cooled generators have been reported in a number of high voltage generators. Ozone is produced from electrical discharge. The Earth's ozone layer has been healing for some time now. Could it be that the wind turbines across the United States has enhanced it in the absence of the aerosol cans being gone? Another claim, the carbon fiber blades are not recyclable. That is absolutely false. You're not worried about all the carbon fiber in vehicles, airplanes, and thousands of other parts. Thermoset plastics have been used for years in car fascias, electrical components, etc. Oldsmobile developed a process to recycle carbon fiber many years ago in a usable product. The carbon fiber in wind turbine blades, which is a thermoset plastic, can also be recycled. Washington State University, R&M International, Shocker Composites, and many other working on ways to streamline recycling carbon fiber. So that's just another false narrative. Another absolute falsehood, when the two self-appointed experts came to me to sign the petition, they claimed the University of Wisconsin kept chickens that continually wait for 4 days before they start laying. There is no such study I could find on that website. However, another study showed and claimed that chickens close to the wind turbines occasionally laid soft-shelled eggs. My grandmother cured that by providing oyster shells, and that was way before the wind turbines. These experts also said that the wind turbines cause milk production to fall in to 30 to 40% the first week. Could not substantiate that claim. Now, they also showed me their cell phone of a wind turbine making a noise a half mile away. And that was absolutely a fabricated sound. The guy that presented the propaganda at the last meeting said that 32% of the houses in Gratiot County were vacant and abandoned because of wind turbines. So I called 3 different realty companies the following questions. How many listings did you write where people are selling because of wind turbines? 0. That is absolutely 0. Did wind turbines lower the home prices? No, negative. Premium prices are being paid if the buyer wants it. Do you believe that 30% of the homes in Gratiot County have been abandoned or vacant because of the wind turbines? That's crazy, insane, absolutely not. That's their words, not mine. Another claim was that there's only 2 houses built in Berkshire since 2012. Actually, there's been more than that. There's been more homes that built on the outskirts. In another letter this person wrote, stated that there wasn't any property for sale in the wind turbine area, which I would say that was great. If you're so fearful that wind turbines are going to lower your property values, then you should probably list your property tomorrow. People are paying premiums above the asking price. Besides, California and New York will be greeting you with open arms. Governor Cuomo will even buy you dinner. As of June 19th, Zillow stated that there are only 124 homes for sale in Gratiot County and only 224 homes for sale in Montcalm County. And they were actually around Greenville and Howard City. If you think the housing crisis is bad, wait till next time around the corner. The next year, actual property taxes are probably going to increase by 5%. Are you ready for that? Another claim was about flickering. The setback from residential should be 1,000 feet maximum. The light differential from the shadows diminished greatly from the source. The length of time for the flickering is very short, depending on special conditions like the sun angle and wind direction. From November to March, there's very little sunlight, absolutely no flickering study is required. These charts are mathematically put together. At the shortest day of the year, 600 feet, the shadow would be 257 feet away from the base of the tower. The spring and fall equinox, the shadow would be 638 feet from the bottom. Now, when you get to the shortest day of the year, which there's hardly any sunlight, now you're looking at 1,400 feet. So very unlikely you're going to be bothered by too much sunlight on December 22nd.
Minutes are up.
Another study was done in Kansas. There was 25 peer studies that also said there was no health risk whatsoever. Another claim that the consumers in Detroit goes to Michigan Tax Tribunal. Well, I'll tell you what, I've been in the tax tribunal that all of you guys put together, period. And what happens if you got an assessor? I'm the assessor. I evaluate the wind turbine by the tax manuals that are available. Whereas the 2 township expert zoning assessors, they hate wind turbines. They assess it at $1 trillion. That's the reason consumers in Detroit Edison goes to the tax tribunal. I stopped at a business east of Carson City about 2 or 3 weeks ago and asked him, because his wind turbine is about 600 feet from his business, I asked him how much it was bothering him. He says never. Once in a while, he says the flickering, you notice it but you don't dwell on it. He said there's more problems with that radio tower over there causing health problems than there is the wind turbines. So, in all the light of this, I know that Daily News is on your side, very biased. I think that they should do a deep study of the power grid, how weak our power grid is, and put out some information like I presented to you tonight, of positive facts, and not lies and made up stories.
Thank you, Peter. Okay. We're gonna start out with Douglas Township residents, and we'll get 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Linda Reynolds, first off with, who does the website? Rhonda?
I don't do the website.
Who does the updating on that?
Bland Tech, Remus.
Is it something that maybe, you could put the current wind ordinance in there and the proposed one that the citizens is being for the public meeting? A lot of people can't get to the office to look at the,
Yeah, I could probably do
The
that.
current one is on there, I believe.
I
don't
can't
think it
find it. I
is.
can
I
find the
don't think it
marijuana,
is.
there's,
I've looked too.
fire, there's a lot of different things on there, but I couldn't find anything with
Like the
wind other than the one,
2017.
No, I don't
the
think
November
that's-
of
That
this
one's
past
not-
year.
That one's not in existence.
Right,
now.
that's the one that's on there.
2017.
So if that could be done, that would be great for a lot of people. I think it'd be useful. The other thing that I was wondering, since Albert's here, again, Linda Reynolds, I know you'll be speaking. I would wonder if you would be willing to do a debate with Kevin Martis at a neutral setting, a neutral, unbiased moderator. You could have your leasers, ones that's on the fence, your family, friends, everybody. Same with the citizens group. And you could even do it the first hour as 3 minutes each way, a rebuttal, that type of thing, under a controlled atmosphere. And maybe the last one do more of a, what's the term? Town hall? Like a town hall where people could ask questions of each person and you still both would reply to it. Do like a 2-hour thing. Something if you would think about it and let me know, that would be great. I think that gives everybody a chance to see out in the open. No more saying, this says, this person says this one says this. He doesn't think you'll do it, but he's willing.
I bet we have open houses to give people a chance to come in.
Right.
So I would
You had open houses, we didn't.
So is that a no?
Listen to her question.
Why don't you guys let him answer?
Well, yeah,
She's being very nice, I mean, and.
I'm trying to be respectful for both.
I
And I would
agree.
want this venue to be just like that too.
Let's not let it get carried away.
Well, I don't think it is, Terry. I think it's fine.
And Linda, have you talked to Pat Outman and whatnot too, as far as?
No, I know that they were gonna try, and I don't know if they've got any farther. He said that he was gonna reach out to Albert. I don't know if he had or not. Again, hearsay. We hear things. We don't know if it's the truth or not, so go to the source.
My question would be, and I'm on your team, I'm part of the team.
Well, sure.
Why,
This isn't the time. This is one person at a
I'm
time.
sorry.
Would you consider it, at least be open to such a thing?
I'll be happy to talk to you about it.
Okay. So, I'd like to hear an answer from you sometime. Thank you.
Do you have anything else?
No.
Who wants to be next?
And I know.
Well, he's not Douglas Township resident. We're gonna do Douglas Township residents first. Anybody else from Douglas Township wanna comment?
I guess I'll go next. I'd like to start by thanking the over 70 citizens that came out last night to support Douglas Township and Belvedere Township. And so thank you guys, it was a great turnout. Appreciate all the support. I'd like to comment that the public hearing notice in the paper has the wrong date on it. It should be August of 22, I believe, instead of February of 22. You might already know that, I don't know. It's the notice about the moratorium extension. I just wanted to note that we didn't interrupt Mr. Phelps the way he so rudely interrupted Mr. Stevens last week. He was very rude. So I'm noting that. I want to note that I am not anti-renewables. We have geothermal for heating and cooling. We have a working windmill, and I am totally pro-nuclear. So don't make assumptions. I'm highly disappointed that there's no notice of this meeting on the Facebook page. There was no notice of this meeting on the sign outside today. Yes, I know you covered your butts by posting it on the door and the back page of the website, but you know, we have a public hearing coming up for the most important decision that will ever be made in this township. And our tax notices, nobody can even put a little slip of paper in our tax notice saying we have a public hearing coming up. Very disappointing. I mean, we've been accused of not showing up, but I feel like, you know, you don't want us here. It's not too late for all of you, or some of you, to be the heroes of this community and consider our health and safety. Please reconsider your stance. Help protect Douglas. Again, I challenge you, pass the citizens ordinance, let the leasing landowners petition it, and then we will vote. Quickly, I also have real estate currently for sale in this 2 parcels in this township, and our realtor is telling us that everybody has concerns. They're gonna wait until the issue is resolved. I have this copy of a pamphlet that Apex gave out last night at their meeting, and if there was ever something deceptive, that is it. I don't think I have to explain to you guys, it's about trespass zoning, and I don't think I have to explain to you guys that people can't build a house in an unsafe zone between their house and the turbine when it's within the setback, where they're gonna get noise and they're gonna get shadow flicker. And in there, they're trying to make the point that it doesn't make it unbuildable, but that's kind of ridiculous. We've seen that happen in Gratiot County. And also, just quickly, here is a copy of the article where it states that the judge ruled against the counties and townships of Gratiot and Isabella at the tax tribunal. So, and they're gonna have to, that was just the first one setting precedent, so there's gonna be much more, and they're gonna be paying back some dollars with interest. Thank you.
Anybody wanna be next? Mr. John. Oh.
I know I'm from City Township, but Karen lives in Douglas Township. I just want to say, first of all, I want to thank you guys up there up front. I'm sure you can't be enjoying this. I haven't been speaking up, but I've been following it. And Terry, I haven't talked. By the way, people, Terry's my brother-in-law, and Amy's my niece, who I adore. I adore you too, Terry. Sure. If I say that, you don't like that mushy stuff, you'll say, oh, geez.
What do you think of you?
Yeah, no. Anyway, I know I've got a few minutes, so I can make it a lot faster. I was gonna do a little story about Massasauga snake, rattlesnake, because Laura's taught me that these little stories are good. I like listening to your stories, quite frankly. I think they're kind of cool. But, I'm hung up on the Zoning Enabling Act, and I quoted it a bit in the Sydney Township meeting, and I'm not a great public speaker by any stretch of the imagination. This kind of drives me crazy, actually. But I'll go back to it, what I did in Sydney, because I'm just hung up on the language, I guess, is my problem. And again, we're going right back to, this is special land uses in the Zoning Enabling Act, 125.3504, section 504. You've got paragraph 4 and paragraph 4A, talking about what is necessary, what you are required to do to write the zoning, write the zoning ordinance. And I'll be honest, you guys have done a horrible job. I mean, I don't see how you can do it. You cannot write, according to this, restrictive enough, unless you're having fun doing this. Did you like being laughed at tonight? Did you enjoy that? Did anybody enjoy being?
I'm used to it, so, you know.
I know, but did anybody enjoy the kind of byplay? Linda, you got up, you wanna do a town hall type thing, so we can have
Dialogue.
a congenial discussion, right? Isn't that part of being a community, a social community? Well, I got news for you. In this act, it says it's the responsibility of the ordinance, and I'll read it. The land use or activity to protect the natural environment and conserve natural resources, and I'll skip all that and go to promote the use of the land in a socially and economically desirable manner. And in paragraph 4A, it goes on to say, landowners immediately adjacent to the proposed land use or activity, community as a whole, and they're talking about protect the natural resources as well as the social and economic well-being. Social and economic well-being, that's why I'm hung up. So I looked up social in the Random House College Dictionary, and the first definition of social is pertaining to, devoted to, or characterized by friendly companionship or relations. I don't see that happening in this whole process through all the townships so far. All I see is ping, 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 ping. I've got neighbors that I adore, I've got family I adore. We're going ping, 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 ping. And I'm telling you, you cannot write an ordinance too restrictive now. It's impossible. The only way you can do is shake Albert's hand and his guys and say, adios, come back when we've got the community healed and we'll start all over again. That's the only way.
Thank you, John.
You can say it.
I'm Melissa
Oh,
Bannon.
one.
Oh, you're done?
No,
Go
go
ahead.
One more thing, and I gotta pick on Albert just because I got to. You don't need to be afraid of Albert and any lawsuit. He's not a, what is it, a fowler's toad? No, he's not a fowler's toad with venom and whatnot. He's just a horned frog.
Hey, I'm Melissa Bannon. I am Douglas Township resident. I also have property in Pine. We did a great job last night, and if you guys would have came out as the citizens, people that we voted in, you would have saw a unanimous, great, wonderful crowd of people that are passionate, care about each other, would give the shirt off their back for being here for each other. We don't like this any better than you guys do. We are kind, considerate, we're not terrorists, which we got called last night, but that's okay. I could be a little terror, you know, come at me in the middle of the night, I might scare you, but anyway. If you would come out and see the community and see how everybody goes from 20 to 50 to 100, all 80 of us or 90 of us last night all know 30 people and 50 people and 100 people. I'm standing here for 60 of my friends and my family. If you really want them here, we can get a bigger township hall, but they know I'm sitting here speaking my mind because I have a really big mouth. So this community is not going anywhere. We want something safe. We want something that's going to protect non-partitioning parcels. We want somebody that we can go up and say, hey neighbor, you know what? If you need the shirt off my back, I'll give it to you. But if all you want is money on your property and you don't care about my property, that's not the way we operate in this world.
That's right. Thank you.
You know, pass the law. I go to McDonald's and I buy the person behind me a coffee. They don't turn around and say, oh, well, thank you for the coffee, but I'm going to put a turbine on the edge of my property because there's these picket things that put water all over it, so I can't put them there, but I can put them right there in the corner of your property and make it wonderful for you. I pay just as many taxes in this township and in other townships. I'm not going away. I have money to move if I need to. I can pick up, I can move, I can take my whole place somewhere else. And I have a big mouth wherever I move. So I'll make sure those people don't want to be in Douglas Township. So when the schools fall apart, the stores fall apart, all the hardware stores disappear, the little petting farms don't have people showing up, you have to blame yourselves. Because I'm not going to live within a community that's not going to take care of my interest and my safety, and everybody else in my family's safety. One of my family members is going to probably pass soon. What am I going to do with his land? Well, maybe we'll sell that too to somebody who wants a turbine in their backyard. The whole community is falling apart because people aren't thinking of their neighbors and their friends. Everybody in this room is my friend and my neighbor. You guys don't act like you're any of our friends because you don't want to do what's right. You want to listen to a corporate person that walked in here 2 years ago and decides to give you free meals. Yes, I'm sure my 3 minutes is over with, but I don't see anybody else got their hand raised.
I'd like
You need to do the
Can I
right
explain
thing.
something, Melissa? I get along good with you guys. I've been to your place several times.
Yes, you have.
I gotta explain to you what we're trying to do.
I know what you're trying to do.
These 5 people
You're
up
so worried
here,
you're gonna get sued.
will you let me talk?
Last time
Here's the
I was
deal.
standing up.
We're sitting up here trying to make the rules.
Yeah.
We can't do anything that's illegal, okay? We're not
You're saying you didn't do
promoting these
anything illegal.
things. We are
Saying you
trying to
didn't do
make the
illegal.
rules. We thought we had a good ordinance in place, and you folks didn't like it, so we pitched it. We didn't even take it to a vote. We got rid of it. Now, we got another one that Cindy and Rick Baldwin put together. They're on the planning commission. That's gonna get looked at the end of July.
But you sat up there and you dismissed your whole group and said, in my opinion, we don't need this. So what part is that listening to any of us? That's one person.
Here's
being
what I'm
told.
trying to explain to you what we're doing,
We
okay?
know what you're doing.
We're trying to do something legal. That's what we got to do. We cannot pass an ordinance that's illegal. This one's gonna come to the planning commission the end of July, and they're gonna bring it to the board, and the board is gonna do what our attorney recommends us do.
The
We're gonna
attorney
do
works
what
for
our
you, Terry.
attorney recommends us to do, okay? I would love to vote on this thing, but I tell you,
So would we.
we're not sure that it's legal. We're not
It
sure
sure
that
is.
Cindy's
It
legal.
sure
How
is.
many townships, how many places in the state of Michigan have to show you that it's legal to tell big corporations to go away?
Well, I'd like to have our attorney tell us that. We're gonna do what our attorney advises us to do, okay? That's what we're trying to do, okay?
You've had a long time, you've been winding down with him. We got on the bandwagon late because nobody could put anything in our taxes that says, guess what? We're having dinner with Apex. Nobody had dinner with us and told us what was going on. So you need to think about everybody that's showing up for the party. Thank you, Terry.
We understand. Anybody else got anything?
Vicki Douglas, Maple Valley. Last week, we had a planning commission meeting, and they had their attorney there.
I can't be bought, honey.
One of the things the attorney tried to make very clear to the planning commission board, after numerous conversations back and forth, he stopped them and said, wait a minute. I don't think you understand. You are not writing your ordinance for Apex to come in. You are writing the ordinance for your township and all of your residents. If it allows Apex to come in, that's one thing. But you are not writing it for them. And that was one of the best things I ever heard. You put waivers in your ordinance, you don't have to worry about getting sued. Do what is right for your residents. They're begging you. Health, safety, and welfare. Throw waivers in there. If non-participating want to sign a waiver, that's great. Have their neighbors sign waivers. They can put a turbine up. Think of your residents, the majority. Health, safety, and welfare. You took an oath, and you are not writing this for them. You're writing it for everybody else in here.
have your hand up?
I'm Cindy Schiff, 251 West Brooks Road, Michigan. I'm one of the few people in Montcalm County that chose to move here after living their life somewhere else. I've lived here now, it'll be 35 years, November 29th. I had assumptions made about me at the last meeting, and many of you saw a side of me that I'm a little ashamed for because I lost my temper. I don't think I said anything wrong that I need to apologize for. I can control 135 eighth graders by myself without raising my voice. And I was asked to do research. I was asked to present research and share it. I read Apex's 3-inch manual. I researched it. I researched the research that was given to us by pro-wind, anti-wind, and responsible wind. There were questions asked about where the basis of this ordinance came from. I read at least 8 different ordinances in their entirety. I researched another 30. No one has talked to me about that, only accused me of using Pearson's as a basis. But our own advisor for writing ordinances, Tim Johnson, gave us what was originally an ordinance for Sparta Township. He did not create new for us. He used what was there. I did not appreciate having someone scream, "Go F yourself," in my ear last meeting, after the meeting. He was talking to someone else, but it was here. I am 100% in favor of having green energy. I want it so that we could have better buying power in this county. I want it so that each person here could very likely not have an energy bill and see that money go into purchasing power, because purchasing power is better for an economy than just service income. I've been on the Planning Commission for 10 years. Don Smucker had me take a class to be certified in master planning. I was a part of writing the master plan for our county, or our township. I had people I deeply trusted. Doug Polson recruited me at a 4th of July party. And he resigned. Bruce Anderson was on the Planning Commission with me when I started. A man who died from a horrific cancer in his face, who told me that his well had been tested and there was Roundup in it from the prolific use of Roundup. An item that Monsanto produced and told us all was safe. I lived uphill for 12 years from a Monsanto plant. The only songbird I knew was a robin. Till I came here and asked my husband, "What's that black bird with the red wings that can hang on that little branch?" I probably hear more birds in a day than I ever heard in my lifetime before I lived here. Because something looks new and looks big doesn't make it the right thing to do right away. Jerry Anderson and I have had a wonderful relationship. The donkey and with the goats, Belle, was born on my farm. I was never so hurt as I was last week. And I have a relationship that I had really been counting on for quite a few years. Jerry knew a lot about me, he knows a lot about me. And maybe someday we can talk privately. Through this whole situation, I discovered I have a health condition called Prinzmetal angina. One artery that feeds the blood to my heart on the left side spasms. Even in preparation for something like this, it might be stressful. I put on nitro cream. The spasms can occur in the night while I'm sleeping. The end result is heart cessation. I got to experience that just at the start of this year. Blinked out for a moment at the hospital. This condition responds to changes in barometric pressure. It responds to heavy bass. I'm a bit afraid of infrasound. I was asked to be a go-between, and I felt I was, because to be honest, if Cindy Schick could write this ordinance, it would say 100 feet to the tip, so it did not extend above the basic tree line. If Cindy Schick could write this ordinance, she would say, no increase in noise on my property. I am not anti-wind. They are working and creating more and more. We talked about it when I took my the master planning class. They were talking smaller, more efficient. I think we're jumping the gun. And I think we truly are, because I had to go back. I was FOIA'd as part of the Planning Commission. I had to go back through all the notes. I was accused of not listening to the pro-wind side. I listened to their presentations at many meetings. I've been accused of being coached to be anti-wind because I've listened to presentations. I know for a fact that when we started writing an ordinance, Apex introduced us to someone from another county and said, this is a good ordinance. And that's what we based 2017 on. And I am totally embarrassed that at that time, as an educator, I did not do the research then. We voted in an ordinance that was referendum and take or now. We swung the pendulum that way completely. Now we've swung it back. Not completely as far as I'm concerned, because I just told you where I'd take it. So please vote for it. And let the people referendum that one if there are that many out there. And if they do, then that moves us back to the drawing board where I recommended we survey every resident of this county. And we write it down. I have spent hundreds of hours researching. I have offered to talk to people. The research goes the one thing I know as an educator, with a brother with a PhD in science, a sister and a PhD in writing and composition, is that if you run into scientific research that says more research should be done, that's an indication that there's something there. Kind of like Roundup. More research was done. Like smoking, more research was done. If you pass the ordinance that is proposed, you swing it out. If it's referendum and we're back here, now we have a clear idea. But why not let that happen?
Anybody else have anything?
Yeah, I'd like to talk. Evidently a stopwatch wasn't working on that last speaker, but, at one of the last meetings, our PC meetings, there was a gentleman come up to me after the meeting, and he kind of questioned one of the decisions that we had made. And he said, well, I'm not gonna judge what you guys have done, you've got pretty good judgment.
We don't know you.
I'm Jack Jefferson.
Okay, thank you,
I live in Douglas Township. And after this gentleman and I had a little bit of a conversation, I said, you know something? Boy, you look really good up here in front with the rest of us up here. He leaned up to me and he said, go F yourself. I want to be caught up there being dead. So this whole room is filled with people that are coming here tonight. I mean, when these 5 people up here run for office last fall, did anybody run against you?
We trusted them.
That won't be a problem again.
Nope, don't be
Great.
inviting people.
That is the best thing right there, is to have more people run for positions like that. I served on the school board up to Lakeview for 12 years. There was a lady come up and started bending my ear one time, and I said, you know, lady, there's a position open this fall on the school board. She turned around and walked away. Why don't you people get involved when the election was there?
I didn't know this was happening. A lot of us know. but
Don't
this
you
is
know when the
happening.
presidential elections aren't like that? I mean,
No, I'm saying we didn't know that the wind was an issue, that.
I just, it's just,
Let Jack talk.
it's,
This isn't a
really
discussion.
bad that, you know, we have, whose time is it to talk?
Don't ask a
You
question
asked
if
us
you
a
don't want to
question,
answer.
you asked us where we were.
Okay, now, we've got a meeting coming up, I believe the 28th of July, our public hearing. It's gonna be a public hearing on the proposed ordinance, and that's all it's gonna be on. I'm chairman of the PC committee, so, and for everybody to know, there is a quorum here tonight for the PC. So if you wanna go ahead and do the opens meetings rule there, there's Cindy Schick's on, I'm on, Tim's on, and Pat's on. So if you wanna go ahead and do it, go for it. We didn't talk any business from the PC, so we're good. But if you people wanna go ahead and do the open meetings rules, go right ahead. Thanks, Terry.
Thank you, Jack. Does anybody else wanna speak tonight? Kelly?
Hi folks, I'm Kelly Jefferson.
You're supposed to talk to them.
Yeah,
Don't address us, please.
don't address us.
Then don't address me.
Turn around.
We're not.
Turn around.
Then don't talk while
Turn
I'm
around.
talking, that's all I'm saying right now.
Turn around.
Kelly, come on up here.
I have listened to you guys say on how you will be calm and polite and how you respected everybody. There's only one person that has respected the other groups in here, and that was Miss Reynolds. She was, and you did. In fact, I enjoyed what you had to say, and you're from Maple Valley. But people, you know, there was a gentleman that says everybody's going after each other. Well, that's because nobody wants to listen to anybody else's opinion. You are entitled to your opinion. I am entitled to mine. I respect your opinions.
A lot of the times I do not, and you do not respect the way others are saying their opinions, whether it's coming from our side or your side. The thing is, this community will be here afterwards. And it does not matter whether or not we agree or disagree now. At some point in time, somebody's gonna need their neighbor. Critz has needed us when their barns, all their storage barns burned. Not a problem. We knew that they were there for us when our barn or our office burnt down. That's not gonna change. It may change for some people, but that is fine. People will hold grudges. I don't care. People have their little attitudes right now. I don't care. I am happy with myself. I can look myself in the mirror in the morning. And if other people have an issue with it, that is fine. You can stay on your side of the road. But what goes on up here with these 5 people, everybody is after them. When the PC is up here, everybody's complaining, well, how come you don't have this done? How come you don't have this done? This is why we don't have it done. They don't have things done because people keep interrupting. People keep making comments. People keep asking these questions, and they have to take time to answer your questions, because if you don't, we get all upset because they're not answering the questions we are asking. This country has gotten to the point where they are so instant gratification that if their questions are not answered right then and right there, without any, people are asking, hey, Albert, why don't you do this? We'll give him a chance to think about it. So that way he's not making a snap decision like you are saying the planning commission did, or this board meeting did. Give people a chance to think about things. Cindy said she put in hundreds of hours. I'm not gonna doubt that. The information that she has brought forward, she has looked it up. She has looked it over. She has taken the time to write things down. I will not ever count her out for that. But she was able to do that because nobody was on her for it. Give people a chance.
You just about done, Kelly?
Thank you.
Yeah.
But thank you. People need to be patient with others and stop jumping all over them from one comment or another.
City Township.
Can you say that
She talks
again?
about,
Before you say your name.
she talks about people asking questions.
You said your
Every
name.
time we ask questions, all we get back is, this is not a question and answer. So we never get answers. We're told that. We can't have that. I sat here and watched PC meeting a few months back, and they had plenty of time to work on it. A good 45 minutes. Mr. Anderson stood up and babbled about how all these people are talking, saying the same thing over and over and over about these turbines. So they're saying it over and over because you're not listening. And then they go to work, they have 45 minutes, they work 15 minutes, adjourn and go home. They wasted a half hour they could have been working on it. It's not us talking. They had another half hour they could have worked. But nope, they had to adjourn and go home. They had enough. And they have an ordinance. They passed it. You guys won't vote on it. The way I look at it, either you're in bed with OPEC or APEC, or you just don't have the balls to stand up to them. Simple as that. You gotta look out for the community. These people, all these people here last night, you've seen them if you went by. I'm sure you've seen it on the news. We got a whole bunch of people that don't want these monstrosities here. It's a big old government boondoggle. And you're getting led by lies, false old news, false old real estate deals from 2009, old stuff that their own research by their own companies that they call facts. We have facts. Cindy's got a lot of facts, and I wish she could have her ordinance she wants to do. We call it the Cindy ordinance. Nice and safe. You guys aren't looking out for the priority people here, or the people that want safe distances, safe for our health, safe for our animals,
safe for our communities. I read about this farm, they raise minks, 3 turbines around there now. A lot of them are being born with no eyes, miscarriages. They're losing thousands of dollars from turbines. They never had that before, till recently. So you need to do your research and do your facts. Cindy asked, you guys are getting your research from these yahoos that just come in here, what, 2017 we're here now? What were you, Coral Wind before? And now you're Macon Wind? More like Macon Liars Club to me.
I'd like to make a few comments. My name is Jeremy Quaco from Cato Township. A little bit on the instant gratification. I think that's a big issue with the situation. You see the turbine money.
Can you spell your last name?
K-W-E-K-E-L. We see the turbine money and get all excited about it when that really shouldn't be a big factor. Actually, that shouldn't be a factor at all with your guys' job. It should be on the safety, health, safety, and welfare. And also, with Laura's comment, she ended her comments on it would be sad to see electricity ration, and we really should study, we're behind the times in America with wind and solar. So if you look to Europe, you look to Australia, Australia's got 30% relying on it, and every year they have ration issues during the hot times of the year. They don't have enough power because it's not stable. But things to look into. Other things, this is Apex's rebuttal for property values. So how they are saying it's just a load that the property values depreciate. If you look at the picture, it is a dilapidated house. That is a good example of what these things do to your community. If you turn to the next page, that is a picture of what a wind turbine park should look like with no houses. If you go to the next page, this is Apex's graph where they're showing the counties that have wind turbines in them. The counties that have them in them, they have over the last 9 years, from 2011 to 2019, they show 35% value in homes, which is true, but the rest of Michigan increased 90%. So the next 2 pages are a broader example of the real estate market, and you can go through and you see Hurons, you can see Bays, you can see, the T county. Albert, help me out. What's the big T county?
Tuscola.
Tuscola. All of them have, their property values have not gone up comparable to Michigan's. So long story short, that is a loss, not a gain. Personally, with these things, the risk of the blade failure is my biggest concern. Apex will beat around the bush about how it doesn't happen. These are, I think, 9 examples from 2 years with the Huron project of turbine blades falling off, hitting the ground, just so we know that they do happen. And the reason why we have this big push for 4 times the height turbine setbacks is for the safety. This is a report from UK. If you get into physics and math, it's a great read. If you don't, just get to page 4. It has the summary, which is that with a 500-foot turbine, the blades can travel up to 4,500 feet, which should be a concern. Other than that, I only have 1 picture of this, but if you guys are seriously looking to pursue this, this is the world's biggest insurance company for wind and solar, GQ, which I don't have the GQ on it. This is a picture of their claims history. So where they record how many blades break, where they record how many fires happen, they use that information to sell it to Apex saying you need our insurance to cover it. This has the 3,000 a year blade failures, I think it's 200 something a year fire failures. It is almost impossible for us to get it. You guys as board members might actually be able to get it. He can get it, but they don't give this out to anybody. I've been trying for months, but it's not open to public information. But by all means, to see through the lies, it is worth the research to look into it. And with that, that's all I've got. So hopefully you guys make a good decision in this.
Ma'am, you wanna let her go first?
I was gonna address some things that said directly about me, but I'll let you go.
My name is Lynn Bush. We live at Clifford Lake, part-time. So we are not legally Douglas residents, but we plan on building here, and thanks to the planning commission for allowing us the variance. It was just interesting when Jeremy was talking, for the first time, these guys got busy. These guys got busy. Our daughter is a procurement specialist for BP, and she's in charge of offshore wind. We are big wind proponents. We are big sustainable energy proponents. This weekend she was here with a friend who's in charge of BP's, British Petroleum, very huge company, bigger than Apex, with her colleague who is in charge of procurements in land, wind that's on the land, not on the, obviously, federally protected waters. And so we're big sustainable energy people, but not in our backyards. There is plenty of place for wind in our community. Thanks.
We got one back there over.
Yeah, hi, I'm Lori Huxley, I also live in Clifford Lake, and, I just got involved in this because we're like them, part-time residents, but we moved up here permanently now, and we're living there, and come to find out, they have 3 proposed right across the street, literally from us, and, you know, one of the reasons why we moved here, we've been in Montcalm County for 25 years, 18 years on Derby Lake, and the rest of the time in Clifford Lake. And we moved up here for the quality of the life. We got out of the city because it's rural, it's beautiful, it's small, everybody knows each other and takes care of each other, and that beauty is being threatened by these monstrosities. And I went online, and you really gotta look and dig, but I looked up this company, and there's lawsuits against them. There's a lot of stuff on there, and you know, and a lot of it's not good. And people need, like they said, you need to do your homework and look at these things, because you know, everybody says it's green, but there's a lot of fossil fuels that are burned to produce these, to transport these, to bring these in. They can demolish people, they can take out whole lines of trees. A blade can be a football field long. And how do you think you're gonna turn that around and get it in a field? I mean, the environmental impact, not to mention the upgrade on the grid. Are they gonna pay for the upgrade of the electrical grid? Are the taxpayers gonna pay for that? I mean, and you go and you look and you see, and then when the blades have their life, they just leave them there and they don't take care of them, and they just fall apart. And so there's a lot of, and you know, I read this, maybe some of it's not true, but a lot of it is some of the counties that have, you know, dealt with them and have these, and you know, and all I know is what I found, but I really had to dig. And so I would encourage everybody to do their homework. I already, you know, we do need to have alternatives to energy. You know, we can't be burning fossil fuels. And one of the things I love about being up here is the air is so much cleaner. I drive into Grand Rapids and the air changes just like that, and I love it up here, and I just don't want that to change. I'm sorry, but you know, it's beautiful here. It's rolling hills and green. Who wants to see this? You know, I've traveled extensively in Europe, especially in Germany. These things go for hundreds of miles in Germany. Hundreds and hundreds of miles. And the landscape is devoid of anything but turbines. There's no trees, there's no nothing. And you know, we don't want that to happen here. I'm telling you, it's awful. And so that's just my 2 cents, but please do your research and here, Leslie.
Thank you.
HECKSEL. Hi, I'm Lisa Coughlin, and I'd just like to follow on Lori. We're new to this area. We just moved here about 4 months ago. This is making us ill that we didn't do our research on property, but we're from Oakland County. COVID has made it possible for many people to work anywhere they want. We would not have chosen this county had we known this was happening. We would move to another county. If you want this place to be, I don't know, budding, building, staying the same, having people want to come here, please change your mind on this. Do you live in Douglas County? We're in Douglas, yeah.
And she's correct. It keeps us up at night. We would not have moved here.
And so whatever they say about real estate, it's gonna have, your real estate value is gonna go down. Because people like us, this is just our opinion, we would have went to a different county.
Nobody drives down the expressway and says, look at those beautiful windows.
It's your turn now. Okay, we need everybody else to be quiet. Give me
All
a
right.
chance to talk.
Thank you. I was actually gonna stand up, after Cindy Schick spoke, and I was gonna thank you, Cindy, for coming in yesterday, spending a little bit of time. I think it's the first time we've actually had an opportunity to speak, have a conversation, walk through a little bit of some of the material that we had there. You had a series of good questions. I know that we have a difference of opinion on a couple things, but I appreciated the opportunity to sit down or stand and talk, and I would like to do it again, and I wish it could stay longer. We have an open house. We've had several open houses because, particularly in Douglas Township, I hear in these meetings, people have questions. It's come up tonight. Well, when can we answer questions? When can we get answers to the questions that we have about the project or about what's going on? That's why we open our doors. And we had a lot of you guys outside. I tried to hand out some cookies to some of the kids who were running around. Jeremy, they may have been y'all's kids. That's fine. You know what? The thing is, we open the doors to have a discussion with folks. John, you spent some time and we talked about stuff totally outside of wind, and you find that when you have a conversation with somebody, you might just find that there's some misunderstandings, or that maybe you have some things in common, and maybe, just maybe, some of the stuff that we read in the deep, dark corners of the internet aren't all true. Due respect, we do not have any turbines proposed, let alone 3 turbines proposed across Cowden Lake. So folks who are new to the area, Clifford Lake, Cowden Lake, any lake, quite frankly, we don't have any turbines proposed. Jeremy, please. We don't have any turbines proposed anywhere yet because we're trying to do our work honestly, constructively. Thank you, Vicki. In a good faith nature to say, hey, at some point, I certainly do hope to have some turbines proposed on signed land. Building a wind farm, as your daughter and your daughter's friend can probably attest, takes a long time. Offshore wind is a whole series of other types of permits. They deal with the same battles that we're dealing with here. We're not proposing building turbines in neighborhoods or people's backyards, literal backyards. Now, there's one thing to say turbines in the middle of fields when we have adjacent farm fields signed up that we can locate turbines out there. Yes, I do believe that those people ought to exercise their property rights. If it comes to a vote, and let's just say, maybe there is a minority population in a given township that says turbines make sense for me. We want to participate in a wind project. Even if it is minority population, they have rights also. So there's a responsible way to build these projects. We have a history of building projects in a responsible manner. We certainly understand health and safety. We think that you ought to look at science, and for the Planning Commission to bring things, bring some of the stuff up, bring in some acoustical experts, bring in some health experts to actually talk about it as opposed to just reading something online. So we've tried to do that. We've had webinars. We'll continue to do webinars. We'll continue to have open houses. next time, come on and take a break from the picket line, be brave, come on inside and talk to us for a moment. Look at some of the maps, because there's a lot of areas in this county where we're not actually signing ground. We're not actually looking to put turbines in a lot of areas in this county, in a lot of the townships that many of you guys live in. And so whether it be Sydney Township, Cato Township, some of the folks here who spoke tonight, even in Douglas Township, you live outside of the project area. I respect everybody's position. I know that I don't do this work to be popular, but I do know that these projects can be a net benefit to a community. We're here to do our job the right way. I can be the bad guy if you guys want me to be the bad guy. I'd rather just be a horn frog and sit down and be able to, have a conversation with you guys. And I'm getting to that soon. But there's a couple other, Jeremy, your comment. I was hoping you're gonna come in yesterday, because after we talked after Winfield, I took the material, our material, I took some material you shared. There's actually, you're comparing apples to oranges. There's 3 different things that we're measuring. So I'm not gonna get into a debate over here, but it's total taxable income. So when he talks about this stuff, it's total taxable income. It's actually residential property values, and it's underlying real estate property values. There's 3 different measurements that we're looking at. So it's not all the same thing. The material that you were just handed is not measuring all of the same things. The bottom line is property values have continued to increase in communities where, whether it be total assessed value of a community, residential property values, or underlying real estate property values, all have continued to increase in and around wind turbine communities. That's just one. So there's a lot of other things.
He's past his 3 minutes, so I'm gonna comment.
Okay, I'm passing 3 minutes.
Sit down! Sit down! Sit down! Sit down! You know what? I gave Cindy a lot of time, and I'm giving him some too. When it's your turn, you can talk, Bud. So otherwise, sit down! I'm letting Albert have his. We let Cindy have quite a lot of time.
I like to say, where were you in 2017 when you were open houses? Instead of sneaking around getting people signed up, well, letting anybody.
This is not the time and place for a public debate. We're gonna pass on Albert right now. Is anybody? Hey! Hey! You wanna get out of here? Shut up! It's not your turn to talk.
I wanna talk to my animal like that.
We can.
I'm over, we adjourn the meeting.
It's illegal.
We got a motion, we're gonna adjourn the meeting. This meeting is adjourned.
That's illegal.
Going home.
That's the answer to everything.
Yep.
You're gonna bring in a industrial commercial.
Go! Big Red, go home!
I never come with a lot of change.